Hello, I'm Diane Gordon with London Living Real Estate, Sales Representative, Manager, and Co-Owner. Today we are going to talk about mortgages, and I'm here with Mark Craig of Omac Mortgages, 979 Wellington Road South in the Wellington Southdale Plaza, just behind Moxie's. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Diane. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Good.
Good. Mark, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I can. I've actually been a mortgage agent with Omac Mortgages since 2001. I've been in the business actually since 1998. I've been on both sides of the desk. I've actually worked for the bank, and now I'm more likely to work against the bank. So I've been on both sides, and so since 1998, been doing mortgages in one capacity or another.
Excellent, excellent. I remember meeting you. You were referred, or you were my client's son-in-law, and
yeah.
I thought, who is this new upstart, and what's he all about?
That's 10 years ago now.
Oh no, time flies. Now, what is your role as a mortgage agent?
As a mortgage agent, particularly for a mortgage brokerage, our job is to take a client's application. We shop that application around to various lenders to try and negotiate the best rate that we can for them. The nice part for our clients is that it gives them the opportunity to get to lots of different lenders by just making one phone call. So rather than if you go just to your one financial institution, you only have their products to choose from, whatever their best deal is. Whereas if you come to a mortgage agent or a mortgage broker, then you're going to have the choice of all the different financing out there, with the exception of a very few that we don't have access to. So it opens up a lot of avenues for clients, and it gives them the ability to just be able to know that they're getting the best deal because someone's advocating for them.
Okay, okay. Now, how is obtaining your mortgage part of the buying process?
Well, in my opinion, I mean, maybe contrary to yours, but I think it's probably one of the most important parts of the process because, people are really tempted to put the cart ahead of the horse when it comes to the home buying process. And they kind of go online, they go on MLS.ca, and they find a house that they absolutely fall in love with. Right. And the problem is that if they haven't been pre-approved, people often go into those calculators and it says you can afford, if you make this much, you can afford this much of a house. The problem with those calculators is that most of them don't figure the other debts into the equation. Yeah. So, if you do have car payments or you have, line of credit payments or anything along those lines, that's not figured in. So they go, oh, I've already looked, I can afford this. They haven't had a credit check, they don't know where their credit stands. And then we have to be the unfortunate people that give them the bad news and say, well, actually, I know you really like that house, but you can't afford it. So the most important thing is talk to your mortgage person first, get your pre-approval in place so that you know where you stand, and that way you can go armed with what your payments are going to be, what you can afford, because often when it comes to the mortgaging process, you can afford a lot more by the numbers than what you might actually be comfortable in paying. And that's always an important thing when we go through any application, is saying, before we get into what's your maximum, tell me what you are comfortable in paying every month. Right. And that's a big part in what I do with the clients, to make sure that they're not going to have price shock when they get into the house and be house poor, because that's something both you and I want to avoid, because that makes it so that moving forward people don't feel as good about the process and don't feel like maybe they got the service that they would have liked to have had.
That's why I feel it's important to go to a reputable mortgage agent such as Mark, because again, he'll go over all of your debt as well as doing a credit bureau. And it's very important because the credit bureau, you may have a student loan that you weren't aware that you only owe maybe $400 on, but that's not going away. You need to clear up some of these small issues before you go forward.
Absolutely. And if you do have a house that you really want, we can come up with a strategy to maybe restructure your debt in order to be able to make that possible for you, because sometimes it's not a matter of what you have, but we can just move it around a different way or consolidate it together, and that might let you get that house that you really wanted as well. Absolutely.
And that's so important for the first-time home buyer. Again, they're establishing their credit, and they're actually really excited that they can buy a home, and they can't imagine that someone's going to lend them more money. And how much they're going to lend them is, again, part of your TDS and GDS, which Mark will explain to them. Now, are there any incentives right now, Mark, for first-time home buyers?
There are a few, and most of them have been around for quite a while. The one in particular that most people tend to take advantage of as first-time home buyers is going to be the ability to withdraw from your RSP. Many of the clients have had the chance to save some money in the RSP. They're allowed to withdraw the money from the RSP and use it towards their down payment of a home. Okay, they have 15 years to repay the money back into the RSP. Okay, you can do a maximum of $25,000 per applicant. Okay, so say if you have two first-time home buyers buying a home together, and they do have that much, they're able to withdraw that out and then pay it back in at the rate of 1/15 over the 15 years. It doesn't have any income implication if they take it out, so it's a nice way for them to get access to that money and be able to save some money in the cost of their down payment and their closing. Also, there's a $2,000 credit in Ontario for first-time home buyers on the land transfer tax. So basically, they don't have to pay the first $2,000 of that land transfer tax. And again, that's a nice savings because closing costs is something that is more substantial for people that are rebuying or been through again, because they're not going to get that break. Something that's city specific in London is that we do have the assisted down payment program. And basically, it's a program run through the City of London where for lower income families, they do give them the 5% down payment and enough money for the closing costs as well. Now, there's specific parameters on what it takes as far as your income numbers, the value of the property that you're buying, and that tends to change every year. And there's also a limited amount of funds. So if once it becomes open, if it's something that you do want to look at, you're best to get on it right away before that pool of money does dry up for the year. Because they get a certain amount, and once it's gone, it's gone.
Right, right. Now, in that case also, they have to have good credit.
Yes, yeah, that's and credit has become something in our industry that's becoming paramount to everything else. Pricing is now very closely tied to what your credit score is. And many of the products now say if you don't have a minimum credit score of this, you can get a good rate mortgage, but you're not going to get our best rate mortgage. So that's something, again, that we do for you during the application process. We're going to do a credit check. We're going to be able to tell you what your credit score is. So again, you'll know where you stand. And if your credit score isn't where it needs to be, we can come up with a strategy to say, hey, you may not be able to buy right now, but if we do something for 3, 4, 6 months, if you follow these instructions, we'll be able to get that score to the point of where you'll be able to either get that best rate or to be able to get into a mortgage situation sooner rather than later.
Now, I had a situation where clients of mine were withdrawing their RSPs, and what I was told that if in fact you take out your RSPs in $5,000 increments, it's only a 10% tax, versus taking it out one fell swoop and it's 20% deducted. The
tax now, it depends on, for the first time home buyers, they can make that withdrawal in one lump sum up to the $25,000. Okay. So for them, they don't have to drip it out. Right. Now, if it's you or I taking the money out of our RSP for down payment purposes, the more you take out, the more withholding there's going to be, because the larger the withdrawal, the more withholding. So if you can drip it out, they are going to withhold less. Now that still might not mean that you're going to owe those taxes, because it's all going to be added together as one sum to your income. So it's something, whenever I talk to somebody that might want to withdraw from their RSP, if they're not a first-time home buyer, I say, look, before we do this, it's going to make sense for you to talk to your accountant and find out what implications this is going to have from a tax standpoint, because you might be cutting off your nose to spite your face where you're getting your down payment together, but you might have been better to take it from a line of credit because you don't end up having to pay all those taxes.
And another thing, when people are buying a home and their credit isn't perfect and they do want to buy that particular home, you have access to, as they put in the industry, A and B lenders.
Yeah, and it got a dirty word back in 2008, but subprime lending. So basically what that means is clients that don't fit within the conventional box, where they might have stable income, but maybe there's something happened in their life where they had a few years of bad credit, and they're able to demonstrate to lenders, hey, I am still creditworthy, I'm just not quite as good enough to be an A client. For those type of clients, the most important thing they can do is make sure that they're taking steps towards improving their credit, and also to make sure that they've saved some money from down payment, because the less perfect your credit is, the more the lender's going to want from the borrower as far as the down payment goes. So they're going to say, hey, we're willing to take a chance on you, but we want you to have a good chunk of your own money into this deal, so that we're saying, hey, we'll take a chance on you as long as you demonstrate to us that you're committed to this deal.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Mark, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Diane.
Should anyone have any questions for pre-approval or refinancing, please feel free to contact Mark and the numbers or the information provided below. I'm Diane Gordon with London Living Real Estate. Selling homes is what I do, mortgages is what Mark does. So after you get your pre-approval from Mark, please feel free to give me a call, 519-679-1090. Bye for now.